Yesterday, the Detroit Lions came out swinging during their first joint practice with the New York Giants. And today the Giants punch back. Let's talk about that and a whole lot more during today's training camp observation. What's going on, Lions fans? Welcome to the Pride Detroit training camp observation. I'm Miko, and in today's video, we are once again going to break down the biggest news, observations, and takeaways to come out of Lions training camp today. Now, today was day two of the Lions' joint practice with the New York Giants. And like I said at the top of this video, while the Lions came out swinging yesterday, the Giants brought a little more fight to today's practice on both the offensive and defensive end. And this caused a little bit of issues for the Lions on their offensive and defensive end of today's practice as well. The offense had their hands full and definitely found a few more struggles than what they had to deal with yesterday. While yesterday there was a lot of success in one-on-ones and 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s for the offense, today it wasn't quite the same. Whether it was Jared Goff, Adrian Martinez, or Nate Sudfeld, each of these quarterbacks found their struggles at various points throughout practice. Goff had a couple struggles on 7-on-7s, being able to link up with a couple of his receivers, having a few passes batted down, overthrowing Josh Reynolds, underthrowing Khalif Raymond. It wasn't the cleanest day for him as a starter, but his day definitely got better. The same can't be said for Nate Sudfeld, who probably had his worst day as a backup quarterback for the Detroit Lions. And this is coming on the heels of the Lions recently announcing that they're signing Teddy Bridgewater. So you have to start to wonder if that news is starting to get to Sudfeld. But even if it is, it's not a really good excuse for the type of performance he put on during today's practice. Sudfeld struggled in just about every area that you could as a quarterback, taking sacks, making bad decisions, specifically on a third down play when it's third and 14. And instead of trying to make a chunk play, he simply dumps it off to Jameer Gibbs for a 2 yard gain. He also missed Jamison Williams on a deep route that probably would have resulted in a touchdown. So when you take all of that into account, it's kind of clear to see why Sudfeld didn't have his best day. And Adrian Martinez has kind of continued to struggle as he has throughout training camp, throwing another interception and then just not having the quiet chemistry that you want to see or the level of play that you want to see from a quarterback that you're looking to develop. Now, while the quarterbacks did have their struggles throughout practice today, the ball carriers were not without fault as well. David Montgomery fumbled twice during practice today, and one of those fumbles coming in the red zone. Now, that's a type of play that has to drive Dan Campbell crazy because once you get into the red zone, like those are supposed to be money type situations. You're looking to at least walk away with a minimum of 3 points if this was a real game situation. So, David Montgomery putting the ball on the ground twice is something that's not going to sit well with the Lions coaching staff. And I say twice, but really it was probably only once because one of the other fumbles he literally just had ripped out of his hands. That was a fumble that was so bad and I guess in a way so impressive for the Giants that the Giants immediately went and clipped that and uploaded it to social media. So today was definitely a day for Demo that he would probably want to forget. But he wasn't the only one with the case of the fumbles. Jameer Gibbs also put the ball on the ground once, as well as Amon Ross St. Brown. So this just goes to show that the Giants defense definitely came into today's practice looking to impose their will on the Lions offense. But it wasn't all bad for the Lions offense. They still were able to find success and still been able to make plays in various situations. For example, the Lions actually were able to get their run game going a little bit today, which is something that we highlighted yesterday as something that they were kind of struggling with. Jameer Gibbs was able to pick up 2 rushing touchdowns once they got into the red zone on runs to the outside, while David Montgomery had a really impressive 9 yard run, as well as a really strong block that allowed Jared Goff to eventually find Amon Ross St. Brown for a go ahead touchdown. Also, another running back that hasn't been talked about a ton in these training camp observations is Mohamed Ibrahim. And he actually had a pretty good day as well with some impressive runs, one of them being an 11 yard run where he showed off a lot of strength and a lot of power and a lot of the same skill sets that he showcased while he was at Minnesota. All in all, when you take into account the miscues and the turnovers, it's easy to see why today was just a really difficult day for the offense specifically. Now, the Lions offense wasn't the only unit to struggle today during practice. The Lions back seven also had their issues as well, which is something that we haven't been very accustomed to during this training camp. The Lions secondary and linebackers have actually played fairly well throughout camp, and it's been one of the stronger units up until today. But they themselves had a couple issues as well in both 7-on-7s and in some team drills. Specifically in 7-on-7s, Brian Branch gave up 2 touchdowns. And trust me, it pains me to have to report anything negative on Brian Branch, but this is part of him being a rookie. He's going to have his highs and he's going to have his lows. And today was one of those lows, giving up a touchdown to both Cole Beasley and Paris Campbell in 7-on-7s. But Branch wasn't the only one who had his struggles. CJ GJ also kind of struggled in 7-on-7s going up against Darren Waller. Charles Harris had his struggles with Saquon Barkley. And even in some of the 11-on-11 situations, CJ GJ and Alex Anzalone had trouble containing Darius Slayton on a 30-yard bomb that turned into a touchdown. And you can almost kind of feel like that may be due to just a lack of communication or a lack of understanding where both players are supposed to be on that type of coverage. Now, on the plus side, because like the offense, it wasn't all bad for the defense. While Brian Branch did give up a couple touchdowns, he did have some impressive plays on the day as well. He came away once again with another PBU and another sack, once again showcasing his ability to play just about anywhere on the field and still be able to make plays. Like I said earlier, it's going to be a bit of a roller coaster with Brian Branch. He's going to have some high highs and occasionally he may have some low lows, but it's all about how the rookie responds. In the same vein, CJ GJ also had an up and down day as well. While I already highlighted some of the struggles he did have some good plays as well, specifically sniffing out a screenplay and coming from 10 yards out to be able to get a tackle for loss. Those are the types of plays that CJ is going to be able to bring to this defense, and that level of instinct and awareness that's really going to help key this defense in and help them definitely take a step forward as they continue to progress throughout the offseason. Now, another player that we haven't talked about a lot during these training camp observations is Cam Sutton. And Cam has been having a really good training camp so far, even if it's gone a little bit under the radar, specifically over the last 2 days. Yesterday, he had an amazing pass breakup against Sterling Shepard in one-on-ones. And then today, when matched up against Darius Slayton, he had 2 really good pass defenses. One of these coming by way of textbook coverage in the red zone, and another one on a deep route to Darius Slayton that Cam just times perfectly and is able to undercut the route and easily get a pass breakup. There's going to be a lot of debate probably throughout the season on whether or not Cam Sutton is a true CB1. But at the end of the day, if he can demonstrate the level of awareness and football IQ that helps put him in position to make plays and make it difficult for opposing receivers to gain yardage on him, it really won't matter if he's necessarily a true CB1 or not, because at the end of the day, it's all about how he plays and performs on the field. And speaking of playing and performing well on the field, I got to give a quick shout out to Derek Barnes, who has continued to have really impressive play throughout training camp as well. And if there's a reason that Jack Campbell may not start week 1, it's going to be because Derek Barnes has continued to play at such a high level. He almost had an interception today and has continued to just showcase a level of growth that this coaching staff has been hoping and praying for since they drafted him. Now, while I specifically highlighted the back seven as having some issues today, the one thing that wasn't an issue was the Lions' front four. Whether you're talking about Aiden Hutchinson, Josh Pascal, John Kaminsky, or Broderick Martin, those guys had very big days. Being able to win their one-on-one matchups, being able to rack up sacks, be disruptive in the backfield, and really showcase a level of growth of how much better they're getting, specifically when looking at Hutch and Pascal from their rookie seasons. And Broderick Martin, listen, Broderick Martin is someone that just continues to impress me after each and every Lions practice. While he's mainly repping with the second team, he's still showcasing that ability to not just be a big body, but learn from the coaching staff and take what he's learning in the classroom and apply it onto the field. Like I said, not only did Pascal, Hutch, and Kaminsky have a sack, but so did Broderick Martin. And while many of us are looking at Broderick Martin to mainly be a run stuffer, the fact that he's showing the ability to get into the backfield and showcase quickness at the snap is something that we should all be really excited about. And it kind of once again highlights the fact that, yo, while we may not know who all of these players are, Brad Holmes is doing the necessary research to be able to find these diamonds in the rough. So at the end of the day, guys, was this the best day or was this the best practice for the Detroit Lions? Probably not. But days like today are great reminders for both the coaching staff and the players on areas where they can most improve. Dan Campbell has harped on in the past the importance of focusing on the little details. Things like communication, things like being mentally prepared, things like showing discipline. Those types of things can be the difference between winning and losing. And today, I think the Lions got a really good dose of understanding like, hey, when you guys don't do X, Y, and Z perfectly, another team can get the best of you. Even if you dominated them the day before, or in the case of a real game, even if you dominated them early in the game. Teams can make adjustments and they can always fight back and punch you right back in the face. So, with that said, I would expect the Lions to take this as a learning experience and really dive into the tape of this practice and come out a little more prepared during their preseason game with the Giants on Friday. Again, it's a preseason game. No one is necessarily going to care about the win or the loss, but it is all about showing growth and showing that you can take the things that you're learning in practice and the things that you're working on in training camp and apply them to the game. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's training camp observation. If you did, be sure to head over to the Pride of Detroit website where you can find Eric's latest training camp observation article, and also go over to either Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen to podcasts where you can hear Jeremy and Eric's breakdown of Lions training camp from today. Also, once again, if you're new to this channel and you've never subscribed, be sure to hit that subscription button and also hit that notification bell. That way you can be notified anytime we upload a new video here to the Pride of Detroit YouTube channel. Once again, everybody, I'm Miko. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.